Alright guys, so let's begin our NumPy tutorial. So before starting the NumPy tutorial, you need to know three things about NumPy. What is NumPy, why we use it, and how it stores our data. So before answering this question, let me start Anaconda, which is a tool where you will find all the libraries and visual graphics tools where you can practice all those libraries. So if you haven't heard about Anaconda, I will provide you a link in the description where you can read about this and download it as well. So coming back to the question, what is NumPy? So NumPy, it is a library used in data science. So it is a fundamental library, like all the libraries like pandas or other libraries use NumPy as a fundamental block. So it is useful in data science. Second thing, why we use it, because all the data structure that you have studied in Python are not capable of having mathematical operations. What I mean is that we cannot perform mathematical operations in those data types. So we need to have some data structure on which we can perform mathematical operations. So NumPy provides us that data structure on which we can perform mathematical operations. So NumPy has certain methods which takes Python list as an argument and gives us back as an array, multi-dimensional array. So depending on what kind of list we provide, we have different types of arrays like 1D array, 2D array, and 3D array. Okay, and let's start our Jupyter notebook where we can practice our NumPy code. So first we will, let's see, I will create new notebook and I will name it as NumPy summary because we will be covering the summary of it. Let's see how to create different kinds of array, creation of arrays. So first I will import NumPy. You have to import the NumPy as np. You can name it anything, n or p or whatever you want. Then let's give it a variable name where you will store your array, and I will create a 1D array. Now that's what I told you in the beginning, I have to pass the Python list here. So Python list takes square brackets and you have to pass certain methods like this. And then if you want to print the array, then you can print it like so. And so this is my array. NumPy array, it looks like list, but it is a array. I will show you how you can check this, but let me first show you how you can create a 2D array. So as I told you in the beginning, you have to pass different types of list and to create different types of array. So first I have passed a simple list. Now I will pass a list of list for creation of 2D array. So let me write here as well. You have to pass list of list. So this is a list and I have to pass a list. So I need another list here. So I will name it as 11, 22, 33, 44, and then I will close this list of list. Now this is 2D. So let's print this. So it is a 2D and this is known as matrix. That what I told you, if I haven't told you, then 2D array is known as matrix and 1D is known as vector. Okay, so we can also create a 3D array as well. To create a 3D array, you need to pass list of list of list. So let me write that as well, list of list of list. So this we have already created in 2D array. Now I have to create multiple list of list and then put it in a list. So this is a list of list. So I have to make multiple list, this kind of list, and then put it in a single list. So let me copy this and then put it as a like this, and then I have make square bracket on the right side and on the left side. So I have this list. So list of list. a list whose elements are list of list are known as a 3D array. So let me print this 3D. So as you can see, we have 2D array and then 2D array. So you can say like we have a array of 2D array, and we can create 4D, 5D, anything, any kind of array which we want to create depending on our requirement. Now we have certain methods that we can perform on these arrays to check their characteristics or uh, qualities like type, endim, size, and shape. Let's first discuss type. So type tells you what a variable is, like array 1D. It will show you like it is a ND array. If I have a list like 1, 2, 3, 5, and now I use type method, then it will show what is a list. Okay, so it will show you that it is a list, type of list. Okay, I can do that in a separate line, and it is a ND array. Now second thing is endim. Endim is used to check the dimension. So I told you that you can check whether an array is 1D or 2D, because earlier it looks like it is a list. So you can check that it is a two-dimensional array. If I have given here 3D array, then it will show me three-dimensional because it is a 3D array. Similarly for 1D. Now we have size. For size tells you how many elements you have in your array. So suppose 3D array, so it will give me 16 because I have 4 rows and 4 columns, that gives me 16 elements. Similarly, I have one more method, shape. So shape is used to define the structure of that array. So if I give shape, then 2, 2, 4. So it says that we have two arrays with 2 rows and 4 columns. Two arrays with 2 rows and 4 columns. First array, second array, having 2 rows, having 4 columns, and having 4 columns. Similarly, if you have passed 2D array, then it will show you like 2 rows and 4 columns. So it is a tuple. Here first element indicates number of rows, second indicates number of columns. And in case of 3D array, it shows number of arrays, number of rows, number of columns. So you can check the qualities or characteristics of an array here. So as I told you, like you can call a 2D array as a matrix. So if you want to create a matrix, identity matrix, if you have heard in school, so a matrix whose all the elements are 1 is known as identity matrix. So to create that matrix, you have methods in NumPy which you can use and create one identity matrix easily. So let me show you one. I will give it as a name, np.once is the method, and then you can specify you want a 1D identity matrix or 2D identity matrix. So suppose I give only 4, so it will give me a 1D identity matrix, so having all the elements is 4. If I have specified the shape here as in a tuple form, like 3 rows and 5 columns, so I will have a 2D matrix with all the rows as ones. Similarly, if you need a matrix, zero matrix, if you have heard in high school, then whose all the elements are 0, then we can pass zeros and it will have all the elements as zeros. Okay, I misspelled zeros. And you can specify similarly 1D as well here. So yeah, so depending on what is your requirement, you can create that easily. Now if suppose you don't want to pass anything and you need a matrix of certain shape, then you can have a method empty. Empty is a method which generates a matrix for you. You just need to give shape of it, and it will provide you with random elements. Suppose I give a 2D matrix shape, 3 rows and 4 columns. So it will provide me a matrix with 3 rows and 4 columns. Let's change it to 3 row, 3 2, so that you can see clearly. And if we go 3 4 3, then it will show you. So I haven't passed any values in this, but I have given shape, so it has provided me the value by default. Now let's see how to create array using a range, certain range. So a range is the function, and we can specify, like suppose if I want to create a1d. So a range is used to create one-dimensional matrix, and to use that we have to call numpy and tell a range we need a single matrix, a range within a range, and starting my matrix will have a starting element as this and ending element as this one. Excluding that element, so I have to pass, if you need up to 100, then you have to pass 101, because this will be exclusive. And then I have to pass the increment or steps, like how you want to increase this in starting element, subsequent elements, like in AP you have heard. So like if I have given 10, so my each element will be incremented by 10. Let's print. So first is 1, second is 11, 21, so each element is incremented by 10. So a range is used to create only one range, only for 1D, for one-dimensional matrix. Suppose now you will need to create a two-dimensional matrix. So how you can do that? So we have a method reshape that is used to convert. Reshape converts lower to higher dimension. So if I have created one-dimensional matrix here, now if you need a two-dimensional matrix or three-dimensional matrix, so you can use reshape function here, like so. And you need to specify, suppose if you want to create two-dimensional matrix, then you need to specify a shape. Suppose I need 4 rows, 2 rows and 5 columns. So okay, let me print this as well to get the idea it works or not. A to D. So I have 2 rows and 5 columns. So that's how you can create a three-dimensional array. Remember that you have to have the same number of elements, like 5 into 2, 10 elements. So you need to have 10 elements in your one-dimensional array. And if you want to create 3D array, then you can pass the structure in 3D format, like 2, 2, 5, but then you need to have 20 elements in your array. Like if I pass 201, then I can have 3D array as well. You can check the type as well, shape as well. So it says 3D array, and you can check the dimension of it as well, ending, using ending. So for the time being I will be using it as a 2D element, but you get the idea of it. So now suppose you have this 2D array and you want to convert it, or higher dimensional array, into lower dimension. So I have a flatten function. Flatten converts higher to lower dimension array. So what I mean is that if you have 2D array and you want to convert it into a lower dimension, like 1D, or if you have 3D and you want to convert it as a 1D or 2D, so then you can use flatten function. So for that you just need to pass the argument here, and let me store it in R, or let me directly print it. So there you have your one-dimensional array. So you have converted from higher dimension to lower dimension. Now suppose we have another operation on matrix which is very common, which is transpose. If you want to transpose certain matrix, suppose A to D is our two-dimensional matrix, and here it is A to D. So if you need to transpose it, then you need just pass T method and it will transpose your matrix. So there you have 2D array and then you have transpose version of it. So my rows becomes my column and my columns become my rows, as you can see. So transpose is common function in matrix. Now suppose you have a 2D matrix like this, and you have another 2D matrix A2D1 and A2D2. So now I have two matrices here. Let me print this as well, A2D1 and A2D2. Now if you want to perform some elementary operations on each element like this, I have two matrices. Like if you want to perform elementary operation on each element of these two matrices, then you have to use these methods. Like if you want to add the elements or subtract or multiply elements, then you can use these simple methods. So these methods will perform element wise operations on these two matrices. What I mean is that suppose you want to add these two matrices based on elements. So for that you need to have same shape. First of all, you need to have same shape matrix, otherwise you cannot add this. So that's why I have taken same shape matrix. Elements can be different but shape must be same. So like if you want to find the sum, then you can use this add method, and for that you need to have np as numpy, then add what you want to add. You want to add 2D matrix A2D1 and A2D2, and if you want to print, then you can print this as well, sum. So you have printed it like sum 1 1 11 11 22 21 42. Similarly, if you want to find the difference of it, then you can use it as a, I am just calling it as a, but you can call subtract sub. So subtract, I have subtracted it. If you want to multiply it on element wise, so you can multiply this matrix as well. Each element will be multiplied by its corresponding element of other matrix. Multiply mul and mul, multiple, not multiply. So I have multiplied these two matrices like 11 1 and 11 square, 21 square, 31 square. Similarly, you can divide as well these two matrices. Divide. Let me show you how to divide. You will get identity like all the elements as one. Divide. Not identity matrix but division, because identity matrix will have same number of rows and columns. This is not an identity matrix. This is a simple matrix with all the elements as one. Now if you have heard how to find a dot product, if you have remembered that matrix has two kinds of multiplication. So one is simple multiplication and other is dot multiplication. So multiply, I showed you this multiplication is based on each element. Each element is getting multiplied by the other element having same position. Now to find the dot product, you need to have certain prerequisite, like first array must have same number of columns as second array has same number of rows. So like if you have first array in the shape of 2 rows and 5 columns, then you must have second matrix in the form of 5 rows and 2 columns. Then you can have dot product of it. So we have 2D array. Now I will transpose my second matrix using A2 D2 dot T, and then I will find the dot product of these two matrices. Let me first transpose it and show you what it will look like, how it will look like. Okay, let me print this as well. Print A2 D2. So this is my transpose matrix. Now I will find the dot product of this A2 D2 T. Let's name it as transpose. Now to get the dot product I need A2 D1 first matrix, then dot, and then I have to use dot, and then I have to pass this second matrix transpose to meet the criteria of a dot product. And then suppose I name is a dt, and let's print dt multiply. So I have got the dot product. So if you don't remember, let me show you. Print A2 D1. So this will be multiplied by this, and then this will be multiplied by this, this will be multiplied by this, and this will be multiplied by this to get these products. Now after dot product, if you want to find the maximum element in a matrix, then you can use max function, like 91 I have. So this is my matrix and it has 91 as a maximum element. If you want to find the index of this, and you can use argmax, and it will show you 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So it has 9th. Similarly, if you want to find a minimum element in your matrix, then you can use argmin to find the index of it, and if you want to find the minimum element, then minimum is the function. So argmax, arg min, max, and min. So there you have it. Suppose let me show you each element individually. Min, then argmin, max, and then argmax. Alright, so I have to print it like this. So you can see, like, first 1 is my minimum element having index 0, and 91 is my maximum element having 9 as an index. And now if you want to find the sum of matrix, suppose I have 1D array. Initially I have this 1D array 1D. So if you want to find the sum of matrix, suppose 1D matrix you have, and you want to find the sum of it, then you can use the sum method. Array 1D dot np dot sum, and you can pass, like, so you have 10. Let me print the matrix as well. Print array 1D. So you will get the sum as 10. Suppose you want to find the sum of a 2D matrix, so for that you need to pass axis as well, axis parameter. Axis is nothing but you want to find the sum as a row wise or column wise. So let me show you first what will be the output of this. So 2D is, so if you want to find the sum of 2D matrix, then you can use simply array 2D, and it will sum all the elements and give you the sum of 2D matrix. If I pass a parameter as axis equals to 1, then you will get the sum as row wise. So So first row will have 10 and second row will have 110. If I pass it as a 0, then it will give me column wise. So 12, 24, 36, 48. If I don't pass anything, then it will sum all the elements and give me the result. Similarly, if you want to find the mean, so we can use mean functions in the same way, like np dot mean. So mean will be my 1.5, and if you want to find the mean of 2D, so right now it will print the mean of entire matrix. This is 15, but hence similarly if you will pass axis as 0 or 1, then it will print row wise or column wise. So x is equals to 0, here it will print the mean of column wise mean. And if you pass axis as 1, it will print the mean as a row wise mean. So row wise mean you are getting. Similarly, if you want to find the standard deviation, then you have std function, and similarly you can get the standard deviation std and for 2D function as well. Array 2D std. So if you don't pass anything, it will print standard deviation of entire matrix, but if you pass axis, then it will print axis wise standard deviation, row wise, and if you pass 0, then column wise standard deviation of this. Now apart from this, if you want to find the exponential of all the matrix elements, then you can use exp function. If you want to find the natural log, then you can use natural log, and if you want to find log base 10, then you can use this function as well. Let me show you the sample, and then I will continue with the next. Array 2d.exp, and then you have to pass. So let me show you the demo of it. np dot log, if you want to array 2d, so you will get the log, natural log of all the elements of your matrix. If you want to find log base 10 of all the elements, you will get log base 10. If you want to find exponential, then you can find exponential like this. You can pass 1D as well, then you can get the one-dimensional exponential of these elements, or log as well. Okay, now we will continue with another, like if you want to have so suppose you have a 2D array here, and you want to get this element 33. So to get that element, certain element of a matrix, suppose I have stored, I want 33, so this is my second row and third column. So I have to specify array 2 array underscore 2D name of variable, then you have to use square brackets. Then you need to first specify which row. So you need to specify to select 33. Let me show you to select 33. So you need to have second row. So for second row, since index starts at 0, so you have to specify 1. Then you have to specify column. So index starts at 0, so this will be second. So I have to put 2. If I print this, then I will get 30. So that's how you can approach to get specific elements from your matrix or array. Similarly, if you want all the elements, then you can use colon, so it will print first row entirely. If you need third column and all the rows, then you can use this. So third column means fourth column because index starts at 0, so that's why it's printed 4 and 44. And if you need all matrix, then you can use this, or you can use single colon as well if you want, or this notation will work also. So to select certain elements, now if you want to check the data type of what data your matrix has stored, so you can use array2d dot d type, so int32 to check data type of your variable. And if you want to know the item size, each item number of bytes it has taken, so you can use item size. So each element is taking 4 bytes into the memory to check data type and size of an element. Let me show you separately element size and d type. Segregating the two just to get the clarity. Dot d type. Why I'm not getting this, I don't know. Let me print this in a separate line. Yeah, so it is overwriting. That is why I'm getting. So you can get the data type is int32 and item size, each item is taking 4 bytes. Size of an element using item size bytes. Now suppose you have where we have taken 2D array a2d1 and a2d2. So a2d1, let me print a2d1 and then print a2d2, print. So now I have two matrices like this. Now suppose if you want to join these two matrices, then you have certain methods. First of all, depends how you want to join. So depending on the requirement, you have certain methods. Like if you want to concatenate it, like join it using it's column wise, then you can use vstack. And if you want to use row as your factor, then you can use hstack. So let me show you. First, column wise concatenate is the function, or we can use vstack. So if you want to join two matrices, then you have certain methods like concatenate and vstacks. So depending on what your requirement is, if you want to join row wise or column wise, you have different methods. So first let's take a concatenate function and we will join these two matrices given above. So np.concatenate and then a2, we have to pass this in the form of a tuple a2d1 and then a2d2. So it will concatenate it. So you can see it have concatenated is based on the columns. If you want to concatenate it as a row wise, then you have to pass it as axis equals to 1. So now it has concatenated it as a row wise. By default column wise, and if you want to get row wise, then you have to pass axis equals to 1. So let me show you both these approaches sideways. So this is row wise and this is column wise. So I have joined our two matrix into one. Now if you don't want to use concatenate function because it can be confusing based on the axis, so you can use hstack or vstack. So hstack is for row concatenation based on row horizontally. So np.hstack, you want to pass a2 d1 in the form of tuple a2 d2, and then so we got horizontal stacked matrices in one array. Similarly, if you want to row wise hstack, and if you want to stack them based on columns, then we can use vstack column wise. Let me copy this quickly and then np dot vstack. So we got the same result. Now after joining, we need to see how we can split this thing. So suppose I have got this as a join, I have stored it in a join, and now let me print this as a join. So I have joined. Now if you want to split this matrix, so we have a split function for this. So suppose I have taken splt and I have passed it as a numpy and the split function split. Now you want to pass what your matrix is to, which matrix you want to split, and then you need to pass one more parameter, which means in how many parts you want to split this matrix. So if you specify 2 or 4, depending on that it will split your matrix. So it will split in 2 parts, it will split this into 4 parts, and it will return a split returns a list having array broken into certain parts. So you got the definition. Now let me show you what is a split function throws. So you can see I have a list of list. So if I have passed 4, so I have 4 elements, each element having each row, so 4 elements. You can see my original element is this, so my each row is broken into one individual element. Now if I have set it as a 2, so I have only 2, so my one element is this and my second element is this. So you can access individual elements using index like we used to have. So splt3 is out of index because I have only 2 elements, splt1 and splt0. So if you specify 4, then you can access up to 3. So you can split your matrix using split function. Now it also takes certain parameter, like if you want to pass, like you want to pass 2 and then 2 parts and then axis equals to 1. And since we have 5 columns, we cannot split based on that, so we will pass 0 and we will get, okay, let me change this. Let me show you the result y2. So now we have a split row wise. Suppose if we have 4 elements, then we will get column wise split. Now we have one more important thing. So if you want to create your numpy array using mean and standard deviation, then we have normal function. Let me show you, but first we have to discuss random sampling. So we have to import random package as well. So um, if you want to create matrix, random matrix without passing anything, then you can use np.random and then you can specify shape of your matrix. If you want a 1D matrix, then you can specify 4, so it will give you a one-dimensional matrix having 4 elements. If you want to specify, you can specify 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional matrix. So every time I will run, I will get a different data, you can see. So this is one of the method by which you can generate a 2-dimensional matrix. Okay, so one more thing about this is that suppose you need a certain fixed value every time you run. So now I am getting this, every time I run it, I am getting a different value. So if you want to get fixed value every time, then you have to set something called as seed. np.random.seed function is used so that you can get same value every time when you are using random function. So now every time I will use not seed, it's seed. So now how many times you run, it doesn't matter, you will get fixed value every time. So it is a useful function and you have to remember this. It is part of a random package. Okay, so apart from this, we have a rand n function as well, rand n. So what is the use of it? It is similar to random, but the thing is that you can have negative values as well. In random function you will get only positive values, but in rand n you will get negative values as well. np.random.rand so we have negative values as well here. Now let me show you how to create an array using given mean and standard deviation. This problem will you will face in real life when you will work on projects. So creation of array using when given mean and standard deviation. So we have to use the random method. So suppose I have taken like mn, I have taken the name of variable np.random package, then I have to say normal because it will use normal distribution to create your array. So suppose I need a array having mean as 10, standard deviation as 3, and third parameter is number of elements, how many elements you need. Suppose I need 5 elements, so I will get a numpy array whose mean is 10 having standard deviation. It takes mean, standard deviation and number of elements. Takes mean, standard deviation. So let me print this. So if you will sum up, then you will find that the mean is 10 and standard deviation is 3. Similarly, if you can increase number of elements, if you need 10, then it will give you a distribution whose 10 elements having mean of 10 and standard deviation as 3. So this is a useful function. You have to use it and remember it next time when you will be using this. Another important function is choice. Suppose I have suppose I have set random seed here so that I can get the fixed value here. So now I will get only fixed value every time. So suppose I need a random value from this. package only. I don't want a random value. I need random value, but only from this list, only from this list. So for that I have choice function. When you need a random number from a given list, then you need to use this function choice. So how you will use this? So for that I have to use np.random.choice, and then I have to pass mn. So now if you will see, then it will give me 12.14, which is my second element. Similarly 10.01, which is here. So it will only provide me the values from that list only. So it will be useful when you need random number generation and you don't want your random number to be generated outside from certain boundary, then you need choice method. I hope you get the idea of it. Now we have string operations. So basically, suppose you have a string like I love animation movies very much, and then basic functionality like numpy, I will call it numpy, then I will call char, and then I will call lower function, and then I will pass this string, so it will convert all the elements in lower case. So I have lower function, I have upper function for uppercase, as you have studied in Java as well, or in other programming language as well. So these are my basic functions which you can perform on string. If you want, you can split your string as well. So for that we have split function. So like I want to split, and then suppose I say I need to split this based on v. So where I will get v, I will split my string. So and you can get the idea. It is similar to Java. So if you want to join your string with another character, then you can use join method as well. We have join. So suppose np.char.join, and then you can specify like I need to specify dollar, and then you will say like I need to append this with my string. So you can see I have appended or joined this with my string I dollar and all this. Not useful, but you can use it. If you want to compare two strings, then we have equal method in Java, similar like string. 2 is apple is sweet. And if you want to compare two strings, then np.char.equal package is to be used is char, remember this. So string and then string 2 string 2, and if you compare, so it will give me false because these two strings are not equal. Similarly, if you want to find something in your string, then you can use function find. Similarly, it is in the char package, np.char.find, and say string I need to find something like I need to find movies here. So it will give me index 17, so you can count that movie starts from 17 index. And last function is like count. If you want to count the number of instances, how many times an element occur in your string, so you can use count. So count, you want to count, suppose you want to count as You can count any letters, you can count movies as well. So suppose s, so it will say, because s came only once. Suppose I have told you to count the number of instances of m, so m occurs 3 times, m and m. If I say very, it will give me 1 because very came only one time. So these are all the string functions and all the basic functions I have covered for NumPy. So we will continue in the next lecture, where we will cover pandas very shortly in the next lecture. See you soon. Bye bye.